Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Now then, I'm going to go through everything that I acquired while at Adepticon and other parts of America this year. So first things first, I'm not sure if this should really be included, but here we go, because I purchased this last year and just had no room in my luggage at all when I was going home, so I had to leave it with somebody, and then I picked it up this year. So that would be Munchkin Deluxe. Just like regular Munchkin, except you get a board as well, so you have a visual representation of your character level as you move them up through the different rooms, with some nice little models. I think I may just be using this one, the delicious orange one. So let's get that back out the way again, and now I'll move on to things that came as part of the Adepticon swag bag. I'm pretty sure they all did anyway. There may be one or two things that have snuck in there and escaped my memory. So, War Machine. Again, it was War Machine last year, it's War Machine this year. It's the one game that I've tried and have no interest in whatsoever. It's just not for me. Normally when you play a game, it kind of grabs you a little bit and you get overtaken and become really enthusiastic about it for a little while, and then that wears off. But with War Machine, I didn't even really have that initial burst of excitement at all. So this is going straight on eBay, Crick's Battle Group. If anyone wants to make me an offer, feel free. Next, I'm not quite so negative towards this, Relic Nights. All I know about this game is that people always confuse relics with this. No idea. I know nothing at all about this game. If anyone wants to give me more information, sell me on it. Tell me why I should be excited for this model. Feel free. Next, I believe this was from a promotional piece of paper that came in the bag that said visit our booth and get a free miniature for Ethereum. Looks like a nice enough model, but not really of particular interest to me, which is a running theme with a lot of things in this swag bag this year. A lot of things that are kind of cool, but don't really serve me any particular purpose, including this orc, or something. Let's get a bit of zoom action on that, shall we? There we go. I mean, it's kind of cool looking, but I can't remember which range it's for. It didn't come in a bag. So it just goes into the kind of cool but not really useful pile, along with a lot of other things, including this little Mars Attacks fellow. I'm sure if I get into that game it'll come in handy, but just on his own, not that useful at this stage, and his little helmet's fallen off, and I don't know where it is. I'll have to find that. Let's see, what have we got next? Ooh, we've got some cards. Let's get zoomed out a little bit again. So, as always in these swag bags, you get lots of cards for various upcoming card games and so on, that just end up sitting around because you think, well, it's only a card, it doesn't take up any space, until you end up with thousands of them from various promotions and whatnot. I don't really have much interest in them at all, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to sit gathering dust. Next, we have an unmarked female Elven Mage of some kind. It doesn't seem to have any kind of company logo anywhere on it. Not even on the tab. So, no idea what to make of that. Maybe it'll come in useful one day. Next, we've got something from Victoria Miniatures. Some kind of female guardsman, by the looks of it. So, again, kind of cool, not really of any use to me. Since I don't really paint things that I'm not going to be using in games, most of these things will just gather dust unless I sell them, sadly. Speaking of paint though, we've got two paints. We've got this Reaper Master Series paint. This one is old bronze, so that'll come in useful. And next, Steinill Res by Badger Airbrush Company. Now, I got the black one of this in the swag bag last year, and that hasn't caused me any problems. I've used that as a brush-on primer. I use a Vallejo surface primer for my airbrushing, and then if I find any gaps later on, then I usually just get the black one of these and just brush it on. So I'm sure I'll do the same with this, so that'll come in handy. Apparently it's very tough, but I haven't really compared it to a lot of other products, so I can't judge. Next, Hordes rulebook. Better zoom out again, hadn't we? Yeah, that's not going to be of any use to me particularly, because no interest in War Machine. As far as I'm aware, Hordes is exactly the same, with one or two minor differences. So, yep. Next, we have some miniatures from Robotech. I know nothing about this game. They look vaguely cool though. So if someone wants to fill me in on why I should be interested in this game, that would be very helpful. Otherwise they'll just sit in a pile somewhere. They look fairly cool though. I can't really justify getting into any new system heavily at the moment, considering I'm already into about 9. And oh, I found the Martian's little hat. Isn't that nice? Next, we have War Games Illustrated magazine, which is mostly historical wargame content, which I'm not particularly into outside of bolt action. So I'm probably not going to read it at all. So it's not been a very fruitful swag bag for me so far. Next, and I believe this came in the swag bag, this is from Brush for Hire Death Ray Designs. I believe these are little base inserts that you sit on top of the base, and they're like laser cut. So that's kind of cool. I may find a use for those. Next, this is the final item from the swag bag, I believe. It is a brush, the WGC Hydra Detail Brush from Games and Gears, who are a nice bunch of people. I did spend a bit of time with them. And all the rest of the stuff that came in the bag, in fact about 50% of the weight even, was just promotional cards and 10% off if you come and visit us at the convention and so on. So not really of any particular interest. If I'm going to go to a convention, I want free stuff or significant savings. Otherwise, especially if I'm in another country where it has to actually go in my luggage, I'm not going to be making any significant purchases unless there's a really major discount. Especially this year, I was trying to spend as little money as possible because I'm getting a taste for this flying around the world, and if I want to do it more regularly, then I'm going to have to avoid spending money where possible. So, speaking of spending money, on to the things that I actually acquired outside of the swag bag this year. So first things first, I picked up a couple of delicious orange dice. So, we have a D3 and a D30. Because I was browsing around, there weren't too many dice for sale there, but the ones that I saw that immediately struck me were of course the orange ones, and I don't have a D30. I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for, but I don't have one, so now I do. And the D3, there are a lot of games that require the use of a D3, but not many have a specific dice that you can use as a D3. There are a couple of bags of wonderful orange tokens from Brush for Hire / Death Ray Designs. Orange, need I say more? On the subject of Brush for Hire, I spent a fair bit of time with those guys, and one of them, by the name of Chris, was selling these wristbands. He was making them custom, whatever colour you want, and all the proceeds were going to one of his relatives who requires a bone marrow transplant. So, of course it was a good cause, so plenty of people were buying these. I believe I paid 1 cent above the suggested price, which shows how generous I am. And it's orange, so I'm enjoying wearing it round about the place. I can always use more orange fashion accessories, and I'll put a link if you want to order one of these. Not necessarily orange. Now I believe on the site it says that they only ship to the US, but I'm sure if you send them a message then they could sort something out. It wouldn't be too expensive to ship it elsewhere, I imagine, since they're only very small and light. and very stylish, might I add, especially on me. Looks pretty damn good. Next up, we have the Adepticon special commemorative dice. They didn't have any orange ones this year. They had the choice of blue, white or red, I believe, so I went with the blue ones, which is always my second choice with colour. The 1 has Adepticon 2015 written on it, and the 6 is the nice Adepticon skull symbol there. So, very nice. I also got the Adepticon T-shirt, again for this year, like I did last year, but that's currently being washed, so you're not going to get a look at that. Well, speaking of T-shirts, not Adepticon related, but when I went to San Francisco after Adepticon and attended WrestleMania, I did pick up a rather wonderful orange Macho Man Randy Savage t-shirt, which you may have seen pictures of if you're friends with me on Facebook. I may put a picture of it in here. So that is the limit of my acquisitions. Not too much stuff at all, because like I said, I was trying to spend as little money as possible this year, and I think I showed quite good restraint. So keep your eyes peeled, and there'll be videos coming up on the Warhammer tournament that I took part in, and also probably a Vlogwork Orange going into a bit more detail on my various travel and convention experiences this year. So, ta-ta for now, folks.